council adopts Terrace Bay hereby acknowledges that we are in the Robinson Sphere and Treaty Territory in the land on which we gather as traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and the Métis. Additions, deletions, or amendments. I have a motion moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Johnson, that the agenda for the March 4th, 2024 regular meeting be approved with following amendments. Bylaw 8-2024, approving an agreement for Firemark Inc. be added as item 8E, and a resolution to approve a member of the council to the new police service board be added to item 9B. Any questions on that motion? All in favor? Carried. Disclosures of interest, any disclosures of interest? Hearing none. I have a motion moved by Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor St. Louis, resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting held February 20th, 2024 be approved as presented. Any questions on that motion? All in favor? Carried. Next item, moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Johnson, resolved that the minutes of the special council meeting held February 22nd, 2024 be approved as presented. Any questions on that motion? All in favor? Carried.
The one you read just before, was that the 20th or the 22nd?
20th.
Oh, 20th.
Okay. Reports from administration. John, anybody make for the recap?
Thank you, Your Worship. For this past Thursday, Friday, myself and several members of the council attended the Thunder Bay District Municipal League in Nipissing. It was a good conference. The only one of the things I'll share is sort of a criticism of it, I guess, was there's lots of virtual presentations. So it's a bit problematic when you're going somewhere to attend a conference and you have to sit there and watch a screen. But other than that, there were some interesting presentations, particularly around the legal presentation on the building more homes faster act, as well as the other presentation she did as well. And beyond that, the updates from the ministry were also good. I did send a follow-up email to our MSO in Thunder Bay with respect to the other act, which is the Building Faster Act, I believe, which no details have been released from the government since it was announced in April last year. They're expecting the release of those grant funds to be this spring, sometime 2024 this spring. So, yeah, that over it up. Anybody else who wants to comment?
Rick or Bert?
All in all, it was a pretty good conference and there was some informative sessions. But I do agree with John, virtuals kind of a bit of a pain in the butt.
The screen was.
It was, yeah. And that was, you're right. The one drawback to it was the screens were too small, so you had to really strain to see what they put up there. So I would hope that the next conference they go back to the big screens like in the city.
I'll bring in your concerns to the executive.
Yeah, I think we all filled out our form, Bert.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, other than I just would express appreciation for his work on the executive team for the work that he does there, and it's certainly echo the feedback started being given. And all I would say, I'm willing to help the technical end to make it a little bit more effective next time. So looking for help that way. Thank you for AD and beyond.
Pretty close to the executive director for all her efforts.
Yeah.
Other than that, well, it's pretty covered. Everything was on time. Like it did run fairly efficiently. So
Yeah.
The only thing I said, told you, Bert, was there wasn't enough time for questions on some of the speakers there.
Yeah. My biggest probably criticism that share would have been the AGM could have been run a little bit more effectively. It was a little bit of a mess.
Yeah.
But, I also know the president was absent for that for reasons or personal reasons, so understandable, but could have been a little more efficient.
Okay, thank you, John. Finance, Danny,
Worship. Currently, the fire department does not recover costs from fire protection services to include perils of construction fires. As accepted by the municipal levy covers the costs associated with fire protection and is issued for all fixed costs associated with the fire department, for example, the haul trucks and equipment. The additional expenses the fire department incurs while fighting each specific fire are eligible for recovery through the property owner's insurance policy. Fire Marquee is a company that specializes in the recovery of funds from insurance companies based on the cost incurred from the fire department while dealing with an emergency within the geographic location of the municipality. Property insurance policy provides coverage to pay these costs. There is no additional cost to the property owner as this coverage is within their policy. Municipality is not currently billed for these cost recoveries, therefore the insurance company is retaining all the funds for the property policy owner since the insurance company is not paying them on the policy. In essence, this means that our community member is paying for these costs twice, since they're paying their insurance company for a policy and paying levy to the municipality. If an agreement with Fire Marquee was implemented, costs would be recovered from the property owner's insurance to cover the additional expenses of the fire department responding to this call for service, and the property owner would not be adversely affected due to the fire response. It is important to note that costs recovered are additional coverages in the policy and do not reduce or come out of the property owner's payment. By partnering with Fire Marquee, the municipality will be able to maximize its cost recovery while minimizing the staff time associated with patient insurance company. Fire Marquee provides insurance experts to communicate with the property owner's insurance company, and in return, Fire Marquee receives 30% of the recovered money. There's no additional cost to the fire department, even if the property owner's insurance policy does not have coverage. There's no cost to the property owner because they've already paid for the insurance covered in their policy. A link to the company for more detail has been provided. About 1/3 of Ontario's fire departments are currently using Fire Marquee to offset the costs of their department for the emergencies. Fire department does not have the staff resources to administer a recovery program like this, which is why we're proposing entering into an agreement with Fire Marquee. Further, with increasing emergency service costs, this is an effective way to recover costs for necessary services without added financial burden to our community. Financial implications: the money recovered by Fire Marquee is cost recovery only, and it's only collectible on policies that have coverage that is already paid for, so there's no negative impact on the property owner. Cost recovery is difficult to estimate, but will offset the cost of fire response and will be monitored and evaluated after a full year of the program. The options are: one, that council receive this report, fire department billing through Fire Marquee Inc., as reviewed by Ryan Boland, Fire Chief, and approve proceeding to bring forward the necessary bylaw amendments required to allow the municipality to enter into an agreement with Fire Marquee and further a bylaw to allow for cost recovery for insured perils. Or two, that council does not approve entering into this agreement with Fire Marquee Inc. and direct administration otherwise. Recommendation is option one.
okay, thanks. Any questions?
No, we could do this. That's, you know what I mean? I don't know why we wouldn't.
Well, Danny, all those fees that were there, can we make our own fees or is that?
So just the way the bylaws are prepared tonight, the post fire department service fees and charge schedule, it's there. That would be one that we would attach to our fees and bylaw, fees and charges that we do in December. We can do it next meeting too, if council so desires. We can make our own charges there as well too. The way it's been prepared tonight is just for the insured perils on calls they go to. So there's a bylaw there with to enter an agreement with Fire Marquee and a bylaw to establish our ability to charge for insured perils. That agreement, the charge schedule, it's not on the bylaw. We're not passing that part tonight. That's just for council consideration.
Okay,
I know it says within the municipality. I just wonder what does that affect us if we're responding to a call and subscriber by chance? Is that
I can't imagine. It's not within the municipality.
well, let's try for that, something they can do this.
Yeah.
So we can,
I believe it says something there about mutual aid as well. So
Yeah.
that would cover what's going on, but we can get on that.
so if I subscriber council and township doesn't follow suit and they're not charging for those fees, but we do, I just wonder is there a way that we still recoup those costs and fees that way? And then the second question, it says you know, there's no cost to the homeowner because it's covered in their insurance, but it says if they don't have insurance, we still send that homeowner the bill.
We don't send the bill for he would.
Well, certainly, that homeowner still receive that bill, even though they don't have insurance, they may not have insurance.
That would be up to us. It does say from time to, we can apply it from time to time. So I would imagine the default would be is we would send a note. If someone came forward and said we would have to make that determination at the table at that time.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, it's great, it's up to move forward for sure.
And a scriber came here, we would give them some money or,
We'd have to
Look at it all as it goes, I guess.
The way it reads, I believe it's just for us.
yeah,
So
okay. Well, the question, okay, thanks, Danny, moved by Councilor Johnson, second by Councilor St. Louis, resolved that council receives this report, fire department building through Fire Marketing Inc. as reviewed by our Boland Fire Chief, Terrace Bay Fire Rescue, and approved proceeding to bring forward the necessary bylaw required to allow the municipality to enter into an agreement with Fire Marquee and further a bylaw to allow for cost recovery for insured peril. Any other questions? All in favor? Carry. Vacancy rebate elimination bylaw.
So the vacancy rebate program was introduced in 1998. Provincial tax reform shifted business taxation from tenant to property owners. The rebate program was intended to assist property owners in times of economic downturn who now assume the tax liability whether or not their property was tenanted. The current rebate program provides a tax rebate to eligible property owners who have vacancies in commercial and industrial buildings. Eligible property owners experiencing a vacancy must apply to the township and meet specific criteria for the rebate. The end of February of the year following the vacancy is the deadline to make the annual application. Current rebate of taxes paid for vacant commercial space is 30%, and vacant industrial space is 35%. So original impact practice for commercial and industrial property assessment values were based on the property being fully occupied. Therefore, the rebate program was introduced for rebating and reducing the taxes payable when the property was not fully occupied. However, over the past 2 decades, this valuation practice has changed. Property owners have been actively managing the assessment on their properties. By filing appeals, multiple property owners across the province were able to argue successfully that assuming properties would be 100% occupied all of the time was wrong. It was argued that it is normal for any business to have vacancies and that the value of the property should reflect this fact. Due to these successful appeals, impact gradually changed its valuation custom and factored in that portion of the property would, on average, be vacant. The impact of these changes was reflected with a decrease in property taxes for property owners. Therefore, there should be no need to apply for a vacancy rebate. Furthermore, by eliminating the rebate program, owners of these properties will hopefully be more inclined to sell or at least not leave them vacant. Financial implications: Terrace Bay typically receives very few vacancy rebate applications. 2023 had a cumulative total of $1,500 in rebates. The options are: 1, that council approve the discontinuation of the municipal vacancy rebate program and all appropriate bylaws be brought forward. Or 2, that council does not approve the discontinuation of the municipal vacancy rebate program and direct administration otherwise. Recommendation is option 1.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, thanks. Is there something for residential then? No, nothing, okay. Okay, no questions then. We have a motion moved by Councilor St. Louis, second by Councilor Johnson. Resolve that council approves the discontinuation of the municipal vacancy rebate program and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. All in favor?
Yes, Danny.
Thank you. Community Development Supervisor, Green Municipal Fund.
So in June of last year, council passed a resolution supporting a grant application to the Green Municipal Fund Community Buildings Retrofit Initiative. If successful, this application would leverage the $20,000 budgeted for community center energy audit and secure up to additional $80,000 for energy audits and additional township buildings. So we have been notified that the township's application has been successful and the township is eligible to receive grant project. So the township of Terrace Bay will complete a GHG, so greenhouse gas reduction pathway study for 4 of its largest energy users: community center, which includes the arena, the swimming pool, cultural center, and water treatment plant. The study will consider a minimum performance scenario to reduce on-site GHG emissions by 50% over 10 years and 80% over 20 years. In addition to an aggressive decarbonization scenario to reduce GHG emissions by at least 80% over a significantly shortened timeframe. The study will consider removal of carbon-based heating, replacing inefficient infrastructure, and improving energy efficiency. Additionally, the study will evaluate potential water conservation measures, waste reduction, and diversion strategies, as well as sustainable transportation options. The implementation of the study will allow the township to reduce their environmental impact and lower operating costs, helping attract environmentally conscious events, and serve as an educational opportunity on GHG emissions reduction and sustainability. Also important to note, allows us to leverage into green energy grant funding. Financial implications. So should council choose to move forward with the agreement, township will receive up to $77,040 from the grant funded. Regarding the municipal contribution, the township will carry over the $20,000 identified in the 2023 budget into the 2024 budget. The total cost of the study will not exceed $97,040. Our options are option A, the council approved green municipal fund grant agreement CBR-23-0047, and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. Option B, the council does not approve the green municipal fund grant agreement CBR-23-0047 and directs administration otherwise. The recommendation is option A.
Any questions? Long we have a project to do.
I think it is too.
Okay, no questions. We have a motion moved by Councilor Johnson, seconded by Councilor St. Louis, resolved that council approve the Green Municipal Fund Grant Agreement, CBR 23-0047, and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. All in favor? Thanks, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.
Safety Circular Materials Agreement.
Thank you, Erica. So in 2021, the Ontario government passed a new regulation that shifts the financial and operational responsibility of blue box recycling programs to producers, those that produce and supply blue box materials to residents. In this new extended producer responsibility framework, producers will become fully responsible for collecting and recycling blue box material. Transition to extended producer responsibility is taking place between 2023 and 2025, with the new framework fully in place by January 1st, 2026. As a result, community blue box recycling programs are now managed by Circular Materials Ontario, CMO, who is the administrator of the Common Collection System and a not-for-profit organization that is committed to building an efficient and effective recycling system in Ontario. On July 1st, 2023, Ontario communities began transitioning their blue box recycling programs to the new producer responsibility framework under the blue box regulation. Terrace Bay's transition date is July 1st, 2024. So our current discussion is that as the administrator of the Common Collection System, Circular Material Ontario is responsible for delivering promotion and education in each transition community. Promotion and education plans employ strategies and tactics aimed at influencing consumer behavior and shaping how Ontarians use the blue box system. As attached with this report, Circular Materials Ontario is issuing an offer via an agreement in connection with the promotion and education of blue box materials and related services. Should we agree to the terms of the agreement, the Township of Terrace Bay would continue to provide the work in accordance with the terms and conditions of this agreement. This includes, but is not limited to, maintaining our existing recycling assets, specifically waste guides and calendars, or our community recycling calendar printout that happens twice a year, and the website widget and related mobile apps, which is our Recycle Coach app. The term of this agreement would commence July 1st, 2024 and continue until December 31st, 2025, unless terminated as set out in Article 4. Should we not agree to the terms of the agreement, CMO would then be the ones responsible to provide the work. So for financial implications, circular materials is offering the township of Terrace Bay $322.50 a year to maintain our existing blue box promotion and education assets. Administration budgets and spends approximately $3,500 yearly for the Recycle Coach app and to distribute the 6-month recycling calendar printout. This does not include costs associated with the design and printing of the calendar, which is completed in-house. Should the township choose not to sign the agreement with Circular Materials Ontario, CMO would be responsible for maintaining these assets for us, providing the township with the opportunity to save $3,500 a year. So the options before you tonight are option A, that council agrees to the terms and authorizes administration to enter into an agreement with Circular Materials Ontario for eligible community promotion and education. Option B, that council does not agree to the terms, authorizing administration to deny entering into the presented agreement with Circular Materials Ontario for eligible community promotion and education, and agrees that CMO be responsible for maintaining our community promotion and education of blue box material. Our recommendation for each day is option that council does not agree with.
Any questions?
Totally agree.
Okay, no questions? Okay, we have a motion moved by Councilor St. Louis, second by Councilor Johnson. Resolved the council does not agree to the terms authorizing administration to enter into the presented agreement with Circular Materials Ontario for eligible community promotion and education, and agrees that CMO will be responsible for maintaining our current community promotion and education on blue box material. All in favor? Carry. Next item, amendment to dealing with automotive material stewardship.
Yes, so in 2021, the Automotive Materials Stewardship invited the municipality to participate in this collection and processing network that enables producer compliance for recycling antifreeze, oil containers, and oil filters under Ontario's new hazardous and special products regulation. At the time, AMS was required to revise their agreements with producers and service providers to comply with the HSP regulation, which the municipality signed. Our municipal automotive material service agreement allows AMS to provide depot, hour, or event payments to municipalities for the collection of automotive materials. So as a result of contributions by collectors, haulers, and processors, automotive material stewardship successfully transitioned the management of automotive hazardous and special products to the new producer responsibility framework under the Resource Recovery and Circular Economy Act. Recognizing that the cost of providing collection services has increased over the past few years, AMS engaged in support of the Municipal Waste Association to assist in a payment review process to ensure fair and appropriate compensation be provided to communities collecting materials on their behalf. Therefore, an amendment to the agreement is being proposed to reflect this change. So the financial implications should the municipality host an event, AMS would pay the collector a rate of $1,275 per ton of automotive HST plus applicable. So our option before you today is option A, to approve the signing of the amending agreement with Automotive Materials Stewardship for the collection of automotive materials, and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. For option B, do not approve the signing of the amending agreement with Automotive Materials Stewardship and direct administration otherwise. Our recommendation tonight is option A, to sign the agreement.
Any questions? Okay. Okay, we have a motion moved by Councilor Johnson, second by Councilor St. Louis, resolved that council approve signing the amending agreement with Automotive Materials Stewardship for the collection of automotive materials, antifreeze, oil containers, and oil filters, and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. All in favor? Good. Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you, Councilor.
Yeah. Communication. We have a motion moved by Councilor St. Louis, second by Councilor Johnson. Whereas current provincial municipal fiscal arrangements are undermining Ontario's economic prosperity and quality of life. Whereas nearly a third of municipal spending in Ontario is for services and areas of provincial responsibility and expenditures are outpacing provincial contributions by nearly $4 billion a year. Whereas municipal revenues such as property taxes do not grow with the economy or inflation. Whereas unprecedented population and housing growth will require significant investment in municipal infrastructure. Whereas municipalities are being asked to take on complex health and social challenges like homelessness, supporting asylum seekers, and addressing the mental health and addictions crisis. Whereas inflation, rising interest rates, and provincial policy decisions are sharply constraining municipal fiscal capacity. Whereas property taxpayers, including people on fixed incomes and small businesses, can't afford to subsidize income redistribution programs for those most in need. Whereas the province can and should invest more in the prosperity of communities. Whereas municipalities and provincial government have a strong history of collaboration. Therefore, be it resolved that the province of Ontario commit to undertaking with the Association of Municipalities of Ontario a comprehensive social and economic prosperity review to promote the stability and sustainability of municipal finances across Ontario. And that a copy of this motion be sent to the Premier of Ontario, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Minister of Finance, and to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. Any questions on that?
And I appreciate the resolution for sure. I fully agree that collaboration between the provincial government and municipality is important. But I don't agree with the province downloading their responsibility to us. And even some of the presentations at the municipal league were certainly to that effect, talking about provincial issues that certainly affect us. But making it seem so much that it's our responsibility, such as physician recruitment, and fully agree, creating a welcoming community for physicians is certainly our responsibility, but the actual recruitment and not just physicians, but other areas, of course, don't belong to us. A number of other things, obviously, but that's what we said. So appreciate the resolution.
Anyone else?
No.
Okay, all in favor of that motion? Carry. The next item, municipality of Tweed and Bridge Cash Resolution of Support. We have a motion moved by Councillor Duno, seconded by Councillor Dubé. Whereas access to natural gas is important to residents and businesses in our community for affordability and reliability. And whereas the OEB decision on phase one of the Enbridge Gas 2024 rebasing application issued on the 21st of December 2023 has concerning implications, including putting into question the future access to natural gas that support of the economic development, affordable housing growth, and energy reliability in communities such as the township of Terrace Bay. And whereas Ontario is growing access to affordable energy, to support this growth for homes and businesses is crucial, as is a measured approach to energy transition, as not having access to natural gas will stifle economic growth and put housing and energy affordability at risk. Now therefore be it resolved that the township of Terrace Bay supports the measured approach to Ontario's energy transition, and further that the municipality of Tweed recognizes that there may not be enough electricity available to replace the energy provided by natural gas and meet the increased demand from electrification. And further, that natural gas must continue to play an integral role in meeting the energy needs of Ontario. And further, that the municipality of Tweed supports the work the government of Ontario has done to date, including the natural gas expansion program and electrification and energy transition panel call for a clear policy on the role of natural gas for access to affordable energy. And further, that this resolution be circulated to the president of AMO, Colin Best, Honorable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, Honorable Todd Smith, the Minister of Energy, Lise Bourgeois, Member of Provincial Parliament, Thunder Bay Superior North, all regional municipalities as significant actors to ensuring the need for natural gas in Ontario as part of the measured approach towards energy transition, and to link the municipal affairs at enbridge.com. Any questions on that motion? Bert or John?
Just two corrections, there's the reference to the municipality of Tweed twice, you should say it. So everybody agreeable to that. Apologize for that. Caught the first 5, missed the middle 2. Sorry.
No questions on that motion? All in favor? Carried. Bylaws. We have a motion moved by Counselor Duno, second by Counselor Dubé, resolve that bylaw 04-2024 to authorize cost recovery fees with respect to the fire department specific response. You read it first, second, and third time, and finally passed. Signed by the mayor clerk. Sealed the number on the 4th day of March 2024. And that a bylaw 08-2024 to enter an agreement with Fire Marquee Inc. for cost recovery building for Terrace Bay Fire Rescue Call. You read it first, second, and third time, and finally passed. Signed by the mayor clerk. Sealed the number on the 4th day of March 2024. Any questions on that motion? All in favor? Carried. The next one, moved by Counselor Dubé, second by Counselor Duno, resolved that a bylaw to discontinue the vacancy rebate program be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered on the 4th day of March 2024. Any questions on that motion? All in favor? Carried. Next bylaw, moved by Counselor Duno, second by Counselor Dubé, resolved that a bylaw to permit council to enter into an agreement with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities in respect to the Green Municipal Fund be read first, second, and third time, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered on the 4th day of March 2024. Any questions on that? All in favor? Carried. Next bylaw, moved by Counselor Duno, second by Counselor Dubé, resolved that a bylaw to amend bylaw 14-2017 in respect of an agreement with automotive material stewardship be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed the number on the 4th day of March 2024. Any questions on that motion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have this one right now going there.
We just EAV Terrace Bay annually first.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, there's not really much of an update. They haven't really said, I mean, do it.
Yeah, from administration's perspective, there's nothing we need to report. I will reach out to our counterparts to see if they have anything new. There was some new documentation released by Mees today.
Oh, yeah.
It's information from a ledge. I haven't had a chance to look at her email yet. So. And she didn't see that it was all on the market.
Yeah.
She did share it.
That was the environmental violation.
I think so.
Yeah. And the other thing I can share is, March 19th, I think it is, we're meeting with, First Nations that are involved with, yoga on the Terrace Bay Mill situation. Not really that came about, I get John from our meeting with, Daddy Haidu, Peter Musqueam, and we asked them if they can set up a meeting with, First Nations people. We'll wrap that, and I want to say it's the 19th. My calendar. Anyways, other than that, I mean, if we have anything else, I think say myself and John meet with them every, whatever, a couple of weeks. The last month, they haven't had nothing different to share, so we can maybe read it and talk to them next week. I know this week busy, so.
And, I imagine staff is monitoring water bills, property tax bills that are coming in, we're close eye on where those stand.
Okay, any problems with that, we can report to council with that.
I quick look at these emails from some of the information in the last 10 years, about $850,000 in environmental fines. This is very cool.
Okay, this one on John.
Is there one?
Okay, well, there's a motion here moved by Counselor Duno, second by Counselor Dewey, all the council hereby appoint. There's no name there, as the council rep. On the new National Police Service Board, which is significant servicing the township of Terrace Bay and South Crider and Base Black First Nation. Bit background, so in case you don't know, Terrace Bay has one seat on council, Crider has one seat on council. One municipal rep from each town and one provincial rep that has to be appointed by the province. This board is supposed to be in place by April 1st. Talking to some people in our area in Toronto, when I was there, they're nowhere near that knuckle board or anything like that. So anyways, what I was told, we have to have a resolution. Right, so we have a record. So
Well, I would move that it's false since he's already on.
You're already on it. Yeah.
So
Did you choose to keep on and I?
yeah, I'll, like I said earlier, I'll try and get through the transition, I guess, see how well it goes. So.
Mhm.
Okay, motion moved by Counselor Duno, second by Counselor Dewey, all that council hereby appoints myself as Terrace Bay Council rep on the new detachment on the Police Service Board. Servicing the town, Terrace Bay, Scriber and Base Black First Nation. Any questions? All in favor? There. Question period, John?
There are a few people online. Question period, those online, have the opportunity to type it into the chat. Please put your first and last names. First call. Second call. And third call. Seeing no comments in the chat, your worship, I don't believe there's any questions online. You can basically.
There's no one there anymore. Okay, moved by Counselor Dewey, same way Counselor Duno, resolved for the next regular meeting to be held on Monday, March 18th, 2024. All in favor? Carried.
Just a reminder of a budget meeting tomorrow morning, budget meeting number 2. That's at 9 a.m. in the activity room.
Morning, everyone. Having reached the hour of 9 o'clock on Tuesday, March 5th, 2024, I call this meeting the Council of Terrace Bay to order. Approval of agenda items. We have a motion moved by Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor St. Louis, resolved that the agenda for the special meeting for March 5th, 2024 be approved as presented. Any questions on that motion? All in favor? Okay, carried. Declaration, the Council of the Township of Terrace Bay hereby acknowledges that we are in the Robinson Superior Treaty Territory, in the land on which we gather the traditional territory of the Navajo and the Métis. Any disclosures of interest today? Hearing none. Reports from administration. Presentation of the draft 2024 capital budget. John?
Good morning. So this is budget meeting number 2. We're going to talk about capital mostly at this meeting, but we could get into operating as well. It's the whole point of budget meeting. So feel free to bring up stuff from the last meeting if you want. But if there's no further questions to start, we'll begin. One of the first things we decided we would take a look at is the 5-year capital plans for recreation and public works. Completed by Luke and Ryan with assistance from myself and Danny. Luke, do you want to talk about your capital plan a little bit?
So certainly we see a number of yellow items. It's no secret that some of our rec facilities and our equipment is aged. So for this year, we vitalized the electric Zamboni. So we know that's funded through NOHFC at 75%. The fire hall roof, which I believe is actually reflected in Ryan's as well, which is, that might be a duplicate. The community transport ban, as well as the brine header modifications. So the brine header modifications, council member last year, we cut some brine lines and we like drove water and air through it, put out some sludge. So we cleared those lines. However, when we started plant this year, there was additional lines that were blocked. So we'd like to go back in and clear those other block lines. That is eligible for funding through the NHSC program, the same grant that we had for the north wall in the original brine piping and the ammonia piping. This can be counted as part of our contingency. Moving forward for the next years, certainly it was just a, like the old conversation myself, John and Danny. All of it's very flexible and movable, but thing that has come up a number of times, we know the condition of the cultural center roof. Dehumidifiers in the arena and the curling club comes up pretty frequently. So certainly something that we'd like to address in the near future. We have the tennis court multi-court enhancement. That was part of that OTF grant that we looked at. Certainly a lot of these projects are grant funded. The really big one in kind of Terrace Bay white whale for the past 40 years or more is the arena flooring. We know that floor and the brine pipes are at their end of life expectancy. However, they've been at end of life expectancy for 15 years or more and continue to function. The most recent quote we have for that is roughly $1 million. That quote was provided in 2019. Say, I don't know how accurate that is as of today. Certainly for a project that scale, we would look for major grant funding for it. And that's where not only an NHSC or FedNor comes in, but we might be able to add, leverage that energy audit, say if we were doing a larger scale project within the arena. But I think that's my quicker overview. Are there any specific questions on any of the items?
One thing just to point out too, if you see the matrix on the left-hand side here on any screen where the numbers and the color coding comes from. So risk, low, you have little or no chance of imminent failure. Medium, possible chance of failure within the fiscal year. High is imminent or already failed. And then the severity of that problem, low, no safety concerns, failure will not cost money or cause damage, sorry. Medium, little safety concern, failure could cost money or damage, and high safety concern, failure could cost a significant amount of dollars damage. So that's how that works. Obviously, the arena being pretty prominent 5. Yeah.
So the biggest thing, the reason behind these 5-year plans, there's 2 things really. It's the preventative maintenance side of things and identifying ahead of time, using this matrix, projecting out for 5 years, what we have in front of us, because not all of this stuff's going to be covered in your asset management plan. It's either too small or could be a number of reasons. The other biggest thing is especially in light of the roofs coming this year and getting pre-approval for tender for them, having these documents, we may end up flip-flopping now and starting our capital budget first, getting approval for that prior to bringing the operating budget, so that we can get a jump start on any construction projects, tendering, things of that nature. So this gives us a better idea of what we're going to be doing on our capital budget for 5 years out, rather than, sitting down in December and saying, okay, what do we need for capital this year? So it's more of a planning document than anything, but again, it'll highlight, you can see from this sheet that we need to do the arena floorboards. Arena flooring board, sorry. It's the most critical piece of, it's the most critical asset that's already failed that we have, right? So, and then on the bottom we have operating. These are working documents, so always going to be continually updated. And right now, all we've identified is the highway signs that we pay for once every 5 years, but there will be a little bit of operating things. So you'll see on the next one, sand for the water treatment plant, things of that nature. So it is more a capital thing, but there will be operating that flows into it eventually too.
I think Danny answered my question, John. I was gonna ask him, besides the ones that are already funded, what's the number one? I guess our number one priority, and you kind of said the arena floor, since it's in red.
It's the one that's probably gonna be the imminent failure, like, we know that. Every year when we fire it up, we just pray it runs.
What's the chances of them getting an ungated quote on that? So we have a better idea, because like 5 years ago, and then the pandemic and all that, you know, all the prices went maybe to $2 million now.
Yeah, I certainly can look into it. Can connect with some people.
The rec master plan will alter this, I think, quite significantly as well.
Yeah.
Once it's completed.
So the other thing to remember too is that thanks to the living documents, it's not a bylaw, it's not dictating you do something. If the arena fails, we don't have grant money, we don't have the proper reserves to, obviously streets are more important than the arena. So you just wouldn't have brought it, the arena flows. That's a reality council needs to be aware of, because that's a reality the public needs to be aware of when you guys are asked questions. You need to make choices. We've been trying to find the right puzzle pieces to make the arena work over literally the last 10 years. And, you know, for one reason or another, it just hasn't fit in, right? You've been putting, using table glue and bubble gum to keep things together. And really, the arena is running not bad right now, but it could be running better. And again, even in failure is out there, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, I guess happy to prioritize any items that you guys would like, and although we had identified it potentially 2027, we can move it up or back if council prefers.
Yeah, so the arena floor, would that also, I know it says arena, but would that also include the piping and the curling club on the curling club floor?
No.
No, okay.
Part of that project would be updating your ice bank too, probably.
So this the arena floor project specifically, effectively you would put new pipes on the floor, insulate them, and pour a new mat.
Okay.
Is the basics of the project. Part of that is taking the boards out and everything like that, based on the condition of the boards and the cost of the boards. I believe the most recent quote was like $25,000-$30,000. I would recommend putting new boards in as well, and that I would think that when you take them out, we'll find some rot and wear and damage. But effectively, you would raise the ice level by 6-8 inches with the arena floor project and just cap it.
So a floor on top of the floor, right?
Yeah.
Right, because the structure isn't bad, it's just the piping, right?
Yeah. So the piping's all thick steel piping. Yeah. We've been running salt water through it for 75 years. And the condition is, well, we know if the condition is past life expectancy. We know if the condition is operational and that we have ice right now. The big difference between the arena floor and the curling club floor is that if a pipe fails in the arena, you have to dig up the floor to access it. In the curling club, because it's the sand floor, it's exposed, and you can just swap out that pipe for a very relatively minimal cost.
I guess my question comes more to the risk side. So if we just leave it, which we've done, is the risk just another ammonia leak, or what's the risk there?
There's no ammonia leak there's no ammonia in the
That's what I
floor.
thought.
The ammonia is an isolated system within the refrigeration plant.
So I mean, I'm okay with it failing and going, hey, we just gotta close the arena.
That would be
That's
the
fine.
risk.
As far as that's the biggest, from a severity safety standpoint. Like, no one's gonna be in there, it's gonna fail, and it's gonna be something catastrophic to
Correct. Yeah.
public skating or something.
The risk is you would not have an arena.
Okay.
Our arena and the refrigeration plant is designed so that we could effectively just turn the one down. So you wouldn't lose both if the arena floor were to fail.
Okay.
I guess on the severity side, could cost a significant amount of dollars now. We know the cost is significant, that's why it's justified, right? It's not necessarily a imminent safety concern, but it's the cost really. Because if your citizens come and really, really want ice, you better find a way to
There you go.
5 months to fix the floor, right? So,
Yeah.
anything else on rec? Move forward to public works. Again, keeping the matrix in mind on Danny's screen, same idea. Ryan, wanna walk through?
Yeah, so I'll just go through item by item, I guess, probably the easiest. So the 1-ton truck, it's a 99 right now, the one we're running. We have a separate issue with that truck that we can't get an emissions test on it due to the fact that we've got it's a big long story, but we got a new door put on it when we got body work a few years ago, and there's a sticker missing off the door, and nobody will get us a sticker and nobody will get us an e-test. It's been off the road for 6 months. We may see that come right off the plan. We've gone this long without it, and we may just decide that we're not gonna have 1 ton. So that's a possibility. Spare sander, so we have our Western started in 2017, I think, with the plow and wing. Then we have the old sander, it's an old Woodlands truck with a sander on it. It's a 1993, so pretty much enough said there. Eventually, it's going to be finished. The intention there will be to buy a used, lower quality truck sander, but with dump box and potentially plow and wing as well to complement our spare. But one way or another, we need a spare sander truck. So to have an extra box would save us on snow hauling when we have snow. We spend a significant amount renting trucks, so that would be a big savings there. So when that truck finally gives up, that'll be the plan to move that forward. But again, not brand new. We'll definitely use it. The ops manager truck, the truck I drive, and the labor truck, one's an 11, one's a 17. They're both coming off the road this year, provided we approve the budget. We're going to buy 2 new trucks there in 2024. So you'll see that come forward later today. The regular cab right now, I have it in 2028. It's our best truck right now. It's 13, but it's still in good shape. It's only got 120,000 kilometers on it. So hoping to just keep pushing that one to the end of the 5-year plan every year for a couple more years, but we've got to keep operating this. Public Works garage roof. We already know it's approved, so not much to say there. Water treatment plant roof, health and safety concern approved. Water main valves, we took out for this year, but we're going to put 30,000 for the next 4 years. We have a whole bunch of valves in town that don't work. We have a whole bunch of valves in town that we don't know the condition of, but we did a little bit of valve exercising last fall and found some issues. And when we have a valve that doesn't work, one valve is a costly project, right? You have to dig up the road. There's asphalt, there's excavation, there's hydrovacing, and then there's the cost of the valve. Valves aren't that expensive. Sometimes you can even get them working, but it's the fact that you're digging up the road. So
Where are most of those valves now? Town site or town
the
site?
two we were going to do this year that we canceled are in
Timber Grove.
No, that's service connections. You'll see that after in no, that was in operating actually. No, these are main valves in the street. So one is at the 4-way corner up here by the public school, and then one is farther down. But the reason those are easy to cut is we only use a main valve when we have a problem, right? And when you have a problem, we want to shut down this section of town to fix that problem. Well, now those valves don't work. We just unfortunately shut down a bigger section and more people are affected, but it's the alternative is so they're an easier cut because it's a convenience thing.
Do you have valves here?
Yes,
If you had to change a valve?
we have one of every size. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the intention is you dig one up, you use that when you buy it.
Okay, I just wanted to know that.
Yeah.
We have a list of the condition of the valve, and what we expect.
What we know, yeah.
Yes.
I think that's where your question is headed, that what would we change tomorrow?
If you were gonna change.
Yeah.
If we were going to change 2, it would be those 2 I just mentioned up here.
The ones that leaked on your fault?
That one, and then the one right up here by Codwell's old house doesn't, we can't move it.
Okay.
It's a ton of 12-inch, that's a main. So we can't, so those would be the 2 we would do this year if we were going to do those.
Okay, the only reason I'm asking is I guess it's like, you've got what, 30,000?
Yeah.
In?
Yeah.
And
That's probably 2 valves.
that's 2 valves?
Maybe 3 if things went really, really, really good.
I just
Probably
don't,
2.
I know we want to be careful what we spend here, but at the same time, I don't want valves in and are failing on you, and then you don't have the plan, and you rush and you fix something, so like.
So what we did this year was we also canceled, we were gonna start a valve exercising program. To the tune of 13,500, Aqua has to do that, we can't touch them.
Right.
Without them there. We canceled that with the thought that once we touch the valves, we could be digging them the next week, right?
Mhm.
So it's like, don't touch them right now. As we saw on a fire place, when we touched them, they leaked for 1 month, and we thought we were gonna be digging up the road in the fall. And got away with it, so.
That's the intent of this document now, is to plan to change those valves. And we'll even stagger out the paving that's gonna go with it under the operating section as we go forward as well, so that every second year we come back and pay for it, right? To avoid lots of either cover.
Yeah.
After that is manholes. We're gonna start a manhole program hopefully this year, provided we approve the budget. For 15,000, we can lower about 4 manholes. So the intention would be the mains on Terrace Heights. We'll probably pick the worst 4 for the plow operators. But we see it in the budget survey every year that something needs to be done there. And we know we're not redoing the road, right? So we're gonna try and lower some of these and as you can see, got a program going. Basically, what a contractor will do, but basically cut it off, put adjustment rings. So that'll be no dig, that'll be no paving or anything, that'll be just cut out a square and cold patch in the square. So we'll provide the cold patch to the contractor. What do we got next there? Our Packer, our walk behind Packer is really old and really not in good shape. We actually lost the bearings in it this year and we're having trouble finding bearings, but we're thinking maybe by going to a bearing shop, we might be able to keep it going for a little bit, but we're gonna have to invest in a new Packer there, not big dollars. Gantry crane in the shop, someone's been asked for a few years by the mechanic. We don't have any lifting device at all in the shop, which is very hard to work on heavy equipment, obviously safely, so hopefully we can, there's not a lot of money, this will be mobile crane.
This is to buy with, not to replace.
Yeah, this is why we don't have one right now, we use the loader with the lifting boom, which is.
Yes, exactly.
Next up, flail mower attachment. Simply, was a flail mower in front of the trackless takes a lot of abuse. That cuts most of our grass where it's not smooth, and it gets beat up pretty bad. So, I think if you remember, we saw in operating, we got a couple grand to put into that flail mower this year to keep it going, but eventually it's just there's gonna be nothing left of it. Want to get it.
Is that on the old one or the new one?
We only have one flail. We only have one mower for both machines. So, and then loader, right now we keeping that 2027, hoping to move that out again. The loader's costing us the most money right now. It's not the oldest machine, it's an 11, the grader's actually an 09, but the loader is more year-round use. We don't use the grader a lot in the summer, so it's got way less hours. With the intention that hopefully we can keep pushing that out. We're really scared to get new equipment with the emissions problems that we have nowadays. So until they're really costing us, we're going to try and keep our old equipment going as long as we can, as long as we.
What do you got for hours on that one?
7,000-ish.
7,000?
Yeah.
So you didn't even do for its first?
No.
Recolor?
No.
So.
No, it's not in bad shape. There's lots of little things, right? And I mean, it's it's in the salt mode too in the winter, but it's still okay. We're gonna do a bunch of work to it this year that we were gonna do last year, driveline work and stuff. But all the heavy equipment, we really want to keep going as long as possible because buying new can get very costly.
You could probably repower that for about 40,000-50,000.
Yeah.
You have a question, I will be an answer and Ryan.
Sure thing.
And I don't ever recall this, but are there grants for stuff like you're listing, like the two new trucks and loader?
The only thing I've seen since in my short tenure here is for electric. We've even seen electric options for garbage trucks, dump trucks, stuff like that. Not an option for us. We did look pretty heavily at the electric pickups, because we don't leave town basically. We only need one leaves town. So we looked into it quite a bit, and it came to the point where the $100,000 truck was gonna cost us 80, we probably get a $20,000 grant, whereas a gas truck's still 65 right now. So we're just not there yet. But if they, 100% grant for an electric pickup, we would go for it all day.
One of the things we were exploring was, we remember community procurement.
Yeah.
Where, they have a program with Enterprise Rent a Car where they essentially, resell rental vehicles. One of the things we're looking at is we do the entire fleet every 2 or 3 years. It is substantial savings. However, we don't have enough volume.
Yeah.
They require minimum 50 vehicles at a time. We rush to around that. So we talked to our neighbors and we're still not even quite there and they won't let us anyways, so.
So leasing your mobile fleet wouldn't be an option, your trucks, doing say 3 or 4 year leases?
I think we'll look at anything once we actually go to purchase the trucks, but, that was just one thing we looked at through their partners.
It would be a lot of savings, but in 15 vehicles, and when we tried to partner with Scriber, they won't let us partner with Scriber.
Like I just thought if you could do 4 year leases, because your trucks, they take a lot of use,
Yeah.
so I don't think it would be perfect if we could lease them for 3 or 4 years and hand them back, and you just have to look at, does it make sense to accept the fact that you're gonna have a monthly payment forever?
There's a maintenance program with that and everything. So it's ways that goes in. But anyway, we don't qualify right now. So
Yeah, would have been nice.
Yeah, so that's it for capital. The only other thing I want to touch on there is we need to keep in mind that we need a compactor at the landfill. It's $1 million. Didn't put it on there because realistically, it's probably not in the next 5 years. Next year, we may see it in the back end. But right now, after discussing, we're not there right now. But it's something to keep in mind that we need one. And one day the MECP may come and say, you need to have a compactor. We need to be prepared for that. They're not going to say it overnight, but they might.
And most things, you don't just pull them off the shelf. They're like over a year delivery too.
Yeah, there's some used ones around, but they're not. But they even a 10, 15-year-old new one is 400 grand, 500 grand. They're gone cheap, and they're single use. Yeah, right. It goes to landfill, it never leaves.
Yeah, it's almost hard to justify the hours wise, but what are you gonna do? So put a gun to your head.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, was there ever any thought about building I know this costs money too, but building a small garage or whatever out there to protect our $400,000
that in as well.
Yeah.
In here, and then took it out with the thought that until we know where we're at with our landfill. But if we bought a compactor, I think if we bought a brand new compactor for $1 million, I think it'd be very wise to build a building that would house it in the dozer. That being said, the one thing we found out when we went down to Marathon, they built a really nice garage, all sealed up good, and the animals are still in it chewing their machines, right? If you guys recall the dozer, we had a mouse chew a bunch of wiring in it. Luckily it didn't cost us a lot of money, but it took Brent like a week to rewire the machine and put it all back together. But they said you're not going to keep the animals out. You're going to keep the bird poop off of it and the sun off it and all that, which is really great, but you're not going to keep the animals out of the machine, which is the problem. So then going into operate and build on the landfill, have landfill survey on there for 2026 right now. Subject to change again with all the landfill stuff, but the one thing I want to note is as we get closer to the end of the landfill, like that survey is more important to know where I don't know if anybody's been out there lately, but we started landfilling a little bit to the west, filling in that big hole with the intention that in 13 years, that's all going to be finished. So we've been having some spare time this winter, as you can imagine, we've been moving a lot of garbage over that way to try and prep for closure. But that's gonna, that survey would be important to help us know that we're, within our boundary. We're staying well within it right now, but that survey will make it, okay, this is where we gotta go to finish up here. So that'll probably move around. And then sand at the water treatment plant simply for the filters. It's a big cost item. It's specialty sand that comes out of the States and costs a fortune, as you can see. So gonna start in 2025, start resanding again. So,
How often do you do that?
I don't know how the frequency exactly works, Paul, because there's a couple filters and they kind of move it around, so that Aqua takes care of it, and that was the number they gave us for,
I can't move to that.
60,000 per year. Yeah.
So
For 4 years, and then
there
again
again,
for a bit.
we don't stop.
We stop a little wee bit.
Okay.
So what happens is, every, whatever, the filter will actually slow down,
Mhm.
and the operators will go in there and will shovel off 6-8 inches, a few times, then we'll stick stuff in.
Okay.
Yeah, it just basically plugs up.
Yeah.
When you gotta rechange all the sand, it's significant cost for the sand and to actually do the work.
Why do you have to get it out of the States?
Some kind of special thing, they must measure all the grains through a grizzly or something, I'm not sure what they
I
do.
remember when they built that thing, they commissioned it, yeah, the sand was not cheap, it was trucked in from somewhere. Yeah.
That's all we have in the Public Works 5-year plan. Obviously, there's, with mobile equipment, all that stuff's moving, right? You could lose a motor in the grader tomorrow, but we have no idea. But we do some oil analysis and stuff. All of our equipment's in good shape, but just gotta keep that in mind. Mobile equipment, but it's not, it's hard to predict.
Well, you didn't follow every rule of the book.
Yeah, you don't see
More
things
is gonna
fail.
fly apart, it's gonna fly apart, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
And you're right, because a motor on almost everything you want up there is gonna be close to 50 grand.
Yeah.
By the time you haven't changed them.
Which, when you get into emissions troubles with a new machine, you go through 10 grand in a day. Right? So that's why we're looking at trying to keep our stuff going.
Just a question, Rob, off top. Do you have the software for this emissions crap, like this Tier 4
Yeah.
stuff? You bought it? or-
Not for CAT.
No,
We have it for the trucks, so we have emissions on the garbage truck.
okay, but you don't have any CAT software, right?
We have CAT software for I can't remember what it's called, SIS or whatever, but we don't have to go to Tier 4 because we're not at Tier 4.
You haven't got any Tier 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when we ran into a little bit of trouble on the dozer, Brent could get so far, and then we had
Yeah,
to
you gotta get it.
bring CAT.
Well, and they're like that, because there's certain things that you have to bring a CAT guy down just to plug a laptop in and to reset it.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on that? Okay, moving on.
So administration, 2023, we paid out 27,351 to Marathon for the broadband project. And 1,200 for the LNG project. So again, focus, the broadband project is basically done. Suppose. The LNG is still ongoing. This is really the last attempt at it. There's another grant that's supposed to be released by the province to see if we can get some startup capital and some operating funds to start the company. We'll see where that goes. Nothing hitting the lid for 2024 for administration. Any questions on those two projects? Cool. Capital review fire. 2023 purchased a new pumper for 582 funded from the fire reserve. Purchased an ATV on behalf of the Volunteer Firefighters Association. Purchased an hydraulic ram for 13,000. 2024 new roof of the fire hall to be funded from the unexpended reserve and the CCBF, or Canadian Community Building Fund, formerly GAFAX. Questions on fire? Roadways, 2023 and 2024, no project identified, not a lot of applicable infrastructure grants being offered at this time. Best interest in municipality to wait to partner with the grant funder before commencing on another project. So you recall in the past, we had access to things like MIII or OSIP or Canadian Wastewater Fund. There was a pile of them we used on the Crown project. ICIP is the other one. So as of Roma, the federal and provincial government have not reconciled their differences on infrastructure yet. The province says they're ready to go. The federal government just hasn't made their half of the announcement yet, so they can get to a third model or whatever they end up getting to. So continually write letters to MPs and ask those questions. But that's kind of where we're sitting.
So are we finishing Cotton or going to Hudson, next project?
We'd have to assess at the time to see where we're at. The far section of Canogamy is actually not in bad shape. Or Terry left relatively newer, given the construction of the hospital and the school. But yeah, we'd have to make a decision when we get there. Hudson is the next big project in the asset.
And with Hudson being the highest cost, I think the next place we would go if we could get the partner funding and all that would be Lakeview, the top end of Lakeview down to, I think, as far as the top hill, basically.
Lots of issues on Lakeview with ground moving.
Yeah.
Getting water main problems there. Thankfully, we haven't had one recently, but over the years, something moving in the ground there anyways. Any question on roadways?
Maybe you can answer this with, to move forward on a Lakeview project, is there like new technology that helps mitigate some of the problems we've had with? Is there like newer technology that helps mitigate these problems that we've had, or is it just the reality of Lakeview, no matter what we do?
I think the ground shifting there is what it is. You would need to, like a big dig to figure out what was,
But I'm saying if we actually go to replace infrastructure there, 20, 30 years, we'll have the same issues, I imagine, or is there?
hard to say.
Anything,
Digging up the road bed and replacing it with gravel, modern construction techniques, and like stabilize things, hard to say. In terms of big job infrastructure, really not a lot has changed. One of the things we look at, and I think we've actually looked at up on Birch, is lining pipes with fiberglass or otherwise with a company like Cambridge. So that's a nice way to repair things without having to dig really, but not applicable everywhere. And it depends on the breaks in the pipe. If they're shattered or if they're cracked a certain way or if they've moved, the sleeve technology doesn't really work. So
Appreciate it.
other than that, council's pretty aware of this. Pavement's very expensive and not getting any cheaper. We're always on the look for new quotes and new solutions to that problem, but it doesn't seem to be getting any better, unfortunately. So anything else, roadways? Moving on. Public Works 2023, year 3 of trackless payments made, year 1 of bulldozer payments made, 18.6 with a trackless blower and the V-plow 4 under budget. Public Works 2024, so another year of trackless payments, bulldozer year 2 payment, 2 pickup trucks are in at 130, new roof in the Public Works garage, 229, which we've already approved. And it's to be funded partially from the unexpended reserve.
John, Danny, those are 5-year payments? Correct.
So we'll have one more year in the trackless, and then we'll be done with that one
After this
year. Yeah.
Yeah, those both actually should be in the 5-year plans. Well, Ryan stepped out, one thing he actually, we were discussing it. The new roof on the Public Works garage just covers the garage portion of the roof. There's, I guess it was an add-on after the one true and Ryan's office. There is, you can speak on it. That roof needs to be changed as well. The roof over the one true in your office. Needs to be done.
Eventually, well, not eventually, like soon it's shingles.
Oh, it's shingle?
Yeah.
Okay.
But just know that there'll be a secondary roof project.
It won't be big, like it's smaller than that house.
Okay. Oh, let's not wait till it leaks. Let's,
Right now for next year.
Brian, just back to roadways for a second. Anything you want to highlight of roadway capital?
No, there's not really anything because of no grants, it's the manholes.
So is our goal to fix like Fort Mary that this year? Or
Yeah.
we're gonna go out and try to get a quote?
You're gonna see that, yeah, we actually have a pretty firm quote already.
Okay.
So,
You won't see that was an operating.
Okay.
yeah, for Gary,
To the next slide.
Water mains. 113.6 for Fort Gary water main repairs, 8,500 for the final Konami project. Water mains 2024. WTP roof modifications for 139, Steve budget for MOSIP, and Hudson Drive and a portion of Lake Continue top list for repairs as for the 2021 asset management plan. Questions?
So that the way we did that repair on Fort Gary would have been significantly more if we would have been in the old fashioned way or have to dig it all up.
Yeah, I mean, you're shutting down the Trans
Yeah,
Highway,
yeah.
so yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely significantly more, like basically didn't even look at it. Once MTO said, yeah, you can do it, but it's gonna cost. Like you need into traffic control and keep them on lane open and dig, open dig. And huge dollars.
Could have just turned the water off before Gary, that would have been fine too.
It's actually going the other way.
The other way.
Oh.
Okay. Anything else on water mains? None? Cemetery, Colin project finalized on a budget of 45,000, spanning 2 years. Cemetery 2024, no capital projects identified. There is gravel in the operating council recall, but that's it. Ryan, anything?
Pretty quiet up there. All bearing is a big one.
Questions from council? We continue to work with the committee as well too closely on their projects when they do come up, and we'll help them as much as we can. Recreation Arena, 2023, 48,000 blue skin North Wall of the arena, 72 ammonia and brine piping repairs. Both projects were 75% funded through the NOHFC post budget approval. Arena 2024, 146 for the electric ice servicer, 44 for the arena head floor header repairs, and continuation of the NOHFC project. Luke, anything to highlight that we haven't already highlighted? Applications?
No, I talked about it in the 5-year plan, but
So that one will be delivered this year.
ideally, now we talked to up here in Thunder Bay about timelines for like different models.
Yeah.
They ordered 2 years ago, roughly this time, and they received it in December. So depending on their availability and delivery time, we would hope for one in September. But if they're not on the shelf, then we would just be pushed back.
I know I've asked you this before, but what's the plan for the old one when the new one comes in?
A bit up in the air in that there's the trade-in value for our old one is $1,500, according to Olympia. So there's a few options within that. We could trade it in. There has been some expressed interest from some of our peer municipalities to have one as a backup. We could also keep it as backup internally. We could use it, if we ever wanted to create an outdoor skating trail or anything like that. At that $1,500 value, we may want to keep it in that it's not worth 50 there.
Yeah.
Moving your boosting project helps the holding up good.
Yeah, we've solved the problem as far as we know. So certainly the biggest leak was always during the snow melt, and hasn't been no leaks with snow melt this year. But when they did do the project, like the contractors did identify that they noticed several cracks and leaking points that were patched and repaired. So we're very confident that we've solved the problem there.
For the Zamboni, does that include any charging infrastructure?
Yes,
So, yeah.
it'll cost us roughly $2,000 for to hook up a bigger outlet.
The 44,000, does that still have to go to tender, Luke, or did we pick someone to do it?
So that's a quoted amount from a reputable company, but it would go to our your tender for public bids.
Any other upgrades or changes needed to the garage with the electric vehicle coming in
No,
besides the charging infrastructure?
no, so we'll buy a machine that fits our entrance way and everything like that for onto the ice surface. We'll buy a side dump machine so that there's no change needed to the snow pit, or anything like that. Really, it should be plug and play.
Questions or comments from council?
I know it was on the 5-year plan, talking about dehumidifiers. Is that a different year or was that for this year too?
In the 5-year plan, it's identified for 2025.
And then after that, that's when you would do the LED lights, if I remember correctly, potentially?
Do it at the same time, yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of warranty does that Zamboni have, Luke?
1 year standard.
Yeah.
You can purchase additional warranty. What Thunder Bay's done actually, so they purchased an Engo, excuse me, which is built in Italy. And all the warranty work is completed by Thunder Bay staff. And they bill Engo for the warranty work, and they said it's been a really good relationship with them.
It's like, are the batteries separate warranty? Because I know Marathon had to replace all their batteries and they only had it, I'm not sure how long, just over a year, but they got batteries under warranty. Batteries were like 30 grand to replace the whole set of them.
Yeah. The exact warranty on batteries, I'm not sure. I assume that there's an extended warranty option, but I haven't looked at all the options today.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Landfill, 2023, 68 scales not completed. Landfill, no projects identified for 2024.
We just did less the scales this year. We saw everything out there and proceed with the scales. It's kind of whatever we have in the extended reserves, so.
It's not back in line.
No questions? Okay.
And we may have talked about the recycling bins that are out there, will those remain after July? Yes. Yeah. Short answer, yes. Yeah.
Tourism, 22,000, the final holdback on waterfront home project, 4,200 for cultural center roof engineering. 2024, 57,000 for wayfinding signage to be funded from the MAT reserve, 26 for further cultural center roof engineering, and 10,500 for cultural center boiler controls. Luke, anything to highlight?
Cultural center boiler controls, we hope to have them done late last year. They were actually done last week. So that project is completed. The cultural center engineering is, I think they're just about to wrap that up. Should receive the drawings anytime soon. And Stacey, did you want to talk about the signage?
Sure. So there's approximately $120,000 worth of wayfinding signage identified and designed. But in order to we're going to do it in phases. This year we'll do the 57 from the MAT reserve revenue to submit the levy. I have been in conversations with DNO, and DNO has given me a light amount of $20,000 that they're willing to match for our signs. So I may be able to add a little bit of value in as well. So we're in the process of finalizing some of the designs, and we're hoping to go to tender when budget is passed or by the end of this month.
So what's wayfinding signage?
So it's a lot of the community signage around town. The biggest ones of focus this year are those information panels. So you see the big ones outside that point people in direction. So we've had those redone. And then the interpretive panels are as well around, but those ones will most likely be next year.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on tourism? Any questions, council?
No.
Moving on, capital summary, 1.08 million in capital work, 744 funded from various reserves, and 335 hitting levy. Discussed everything that's in the list, so. So we're back to sort of a normal year on hitting a levy with that amount, capital work. It's fluctuated over the years a little bit, but we're back to a seemingly somewhat normal year. Questions? We're talking about change levy increase. As it stands right now, Danny, correct if I'm wrong if I say anything wrong here, but we're looking at 114,809 over last year, an increase of 3.23%. That's everything included. All presentations. Questions, comments?
So 3.5 residential, might as well say 3.9 multi-res, commercial 3.7.
So
The numbers are different from what I sent you in the presentation.
yeah, so these are the numbers, Rick. 3.7. We had a slide. The following property classes are affected. Remember, stress this enough on average. Okay.
Yeah.
So as follows: residential 3.73, multi-res 4.08, commercial 3.88, and large industrial 1.67.
No questions?
I'm actually I'm very impressed with the numbers. I thought it would be higher.
Considering what we've heard from other municipalities, but I don't know what their budgets, what they have in them or not.
So what does this mean? Council should know the individual properties will be affected differently depending on changes to the respective assessments. An average residential tax bill of $2,300 will see an approximate increase of $85.79, $85.79, or $7.15 a month.
Keep in mind that 3.23 levy increase, we talk about what we hear from other municipalities. A lot of other municipalities are reporting their massive increases due to small increases from previous years, right? So too many years in a row, not enough fiscal responsibility of increasing a sufficient amount leads to a massive increase later down the road. We've seen it with our water rates in the past.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
moving forward to 3.23, we feel was the best we could do this year. However, this is probably the start of numerous increases of at least that amount. Looking back over past years, our levy increases are never higher than 1.5%, 2%, right? So this is lower than last year, but this is the start of levy increases that we probably will continually see at least of 3% to keep up with everything.
So we're playing catch up.
Yes and no. I wouldn't say we're necessarily playing catch up. However, our asset management plan would dictate that our levy increase should be 15% every year to play catch up. Not feasible, right? Every small municipality faces the same issue, but I mean, we're 1 or 2 catastrophic failures away from being forced to pass a 15% levy increase. So we gotta find that right balance there, right?
Do you have a number what's in our reserve right now, Danny?
That right here. I won't necessarily go through it line by line and go into titles and those, but basically we're starting the year with $5.2 million in reserves, and in that 5, you see the normal OSIF money coming in and the gas tax money down there. Gas tax, we're spending $136,000 in paving and $104,000 on the fire hall roof. And the OSIP money, we're spending $30,000 on the level sensors and $55,000 on the water treatment plant roof. I'm discussing with our OSIP representative right now, we may be forced to spend a little bit more because our reserve is low. We're gonna have, according to this, we'll have $1 million, just shy of $1 million at the end of the year, but some of that is made up of our 20, whatever 5 years ago is now, dollars. So we may be forced to identify a few projects for the water treatment plant. So you may hear that come forward at another meeting. It will be outside of budget, obviously, because it's being used from that reserve.
And if we have to use it, basically?
Yes, if we don't use the money, we have to return it. That's part of their funding agreement. So rather than return it, we'll make use of it.
How strict are the rules on that?
Don't really want to comment on it. If we try to keep the money to leverage it again on like a Lakeview project or a Hudson, they may be willing. It's worth asking at least, but
Well, I'm thinking more like as far as spending.
it's very strict in the sense that basically put it in your mind that we're spending it on water and water related things,
Okay.
water and sewage. There are other things that are smaller, but for us, water and sewage basically keep in mind. Gas, just like gas taxes, paving, roadways, that sort of thing. However, Canada Community Building Fund, they now allow fire department expenditures. That's why we're doing the fire hall roof with that this year. That's new.
What about fire equipment?
I believe fire equipment is part of it, not all. I don't know if trucks are necessarily in there, but
Okay, that's what I was kind of.
turnout gear and that sort of thing.
Water mains are part of it though, right?
Gas tax?
Yeah,
Um,
it would be.
yes, but I mean, we use our OSIP money on that, right?
I'm gonna say,
OSIP's way more restricted than the CCDF is.
if we were forced to spend some money, maybe we go and do the valves around and start and we'll put them out.
That's something we would consider on the OSIP, absolutely. The MMAH, we have the website redesign and info continuation with our info pros updates. The library strictly didn't know every year, same thing happens every year. This is an estimation based on their personal surplus. From the unexpended reserve this year, we're funding the partial DZ fire training in the fire department, manhole repairs, T-line repairs, the energy audit, fire hall, public works grant, community center boiler controls, and a little bit of the water treatment plant. So obviously from past years, budgeting it against the levy and then putting it away because they weren't completed. I know there's money going in. Payments for public work vehicles coming out, you'll see that as of right now, we're showing a deficit in this reserve. However, there will be interest money applied to it once we do all our interest for year end and that, so it'll put us in a positive position. However, we do need to put money into this reserve. Any surplus this year, we consider putting that away. We don't necessarily have to fund those payments out of a reserve, but we have been in the past. We've now depleted that reserve. And finally, $30,000 for our asset management plan, rank. I can't remember the number, update, and our new strat plan update that we discussed in operating. So as you can see, we, like I said, start with $5.3 million. We're gonna end the year at 5. Again, there's interest that we applied and all that. This 2023, so we're doing all right. We didn't hit our reserves too heavy this year and kept we're not hitting the reserves too much and kept the levy under 4%. So. Again, very lean year of all the travel we cut out, all the non-absolutely necessary items that we cut out.
Okay, thanks, Danny. Any questions?
No.
Okay, John?
Okay.
So council was not happy with the 3.23%. Options are getting to a number, adjust ratios, reduce expenditures, make more cuts, cover more with reserves, or increase revenues. Those are the options, like virtually the same options every year. What is council's palette? At 3.23. Again, keeping in mind, we're not going to pass this budget till roughly April 15th. And again, a lot of that depends on smoke or potential smoke coming out of the stacks up the road.
So, I know we talk about ratios every year. I was never a fan of adjusting ratios in stone because it usually haunts you somewhere down the line. I always think. So I know, like, you can try to shift more on the large industrial now, but I was never a big fan of that. I think you're right, Danny. This is a lean year for us as far as what we're spending that we normally would spend on some things. I never expected you to come in with a number in this range. I was thinking we were going to probably be 5 or 6 like some of our neighbors. So I'm happy with this.
I'll agree with that, Rick. I mean, reduce expenditures. I think we made enough cuts already. Cover more with reserves. 5 million is a good number in reserve, considering we'll probably have to dump some of that money into, if their grants are ever announced, into roadways and whatever else, you know. Like Ryan said, you know, he doesn't have, motor failures in the budget or stuff like that too, so, or heavy equipment, so, you know, and increased revenues, I mean, I don't know where you'd increase revenues besides the user fees, I guess, but
That's basically what that would be.
Yeah.
that's probably, well, 3.23 is probably fair, considering what we're living in now.
Yeah, keeping in mind, like John said, everything is hanging over what goes on over there. We could be looking at an entirely different.
So leading up to the finalization of budget, administration will make preparations in case the worst case scenario comes forward. And we'll be prepared to have that meeting either on that day or around that day. So we don't know at this point what this all means, so.
Exactly.
We'll find out. We could be in another 2014 situation.
It won't be this year. Regardless of what goes on with them, we're okay this year. And next year, we're really affected.
But thanks for putting it out there. That's a good point. Either way, we need to be responsible this year more than year two as well, so.
We need to be getting ready if that event happens.
Well, to that point though, I think that, you know, some of the, public works purchases and stuff like that, I mean, this is the year to do that. So that we know for the next number of years, we have the equipment we need. So it's good to get ready, but at the same time, this will be an okay year. So if there was ever something a little bit extra that's like, hey, you know, we're really good, now would be the time to actually do that.
Any comments, Bert?
No, I'm really pleased with the number, actually. You know, and, you know, the number might change depending on, you know, what we're faced with in mill. But,
Okay. Next, John.
Really exciting next budget meeting. Do we need a third? Discuss. You want to just push it to the 15th and a special meeting if required in between that. We do your news.
Honestly, I think what we're seeing now is, I think we all think that's where it's gonna sit, and barring any drastic changes, so. I'm almost at the point that if something comes up, we have a meeting. If not, let's shoot for the 15th of April, we'll pass it.
Everything that does come up, we can bring to.
We're gonna know
Between
anything.
now and then, you have to do regular council.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, the capital is pretty, we saw this morning, pretty lean. I mean, unless someone has any questions on the operating budget,
Yeah.
you know. But I mean, you have it in front of you anyways. I mean, if you have questions, you can always look at it between now and April 15th and
Yeah.
say I agree or I don't agree with this, and I'd like to see this in there or that out of there, you know. So
It's very easy to make any change adding to the front, right? Keep in mind that it'll adjust our number.
no other questions from the table here? Mike, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. A couple comments. First of all, I'd like to bring to council's attention that I've been hearing on the street, people talking to me about people not being able to hear what's being said at the meeting. So the quality of sound is very poor, and people can't really gather all the information that's being discussed, particularly at the budget meeting, because that's what a lot of people are interested in. So I'd like to suggest the council consider looking at some type of a microphone system for each councillor or each member sitting around the table, because some of you have very soft voices or don't project loud enough. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm missing a fair bit of the conversation that's going on. And I've got my hearing aids turned right up. So I'd like some consideration given to, going forward, looking at what you can do to improve, the communication and how you present information to the public through the, screening process, because that seems to be a real issue.
We brought that up, Mike. That's been brought up.
I know it's been brought up, it doesn't appear to have been an answer to the issue, that's why I'm bringing it forward. With regard to questions, you mentioned about replacing the Zamboni. I'd like to understand that that's going to happen this year.
Yeah.
And is that, come as a, can you get that in an electric version as opposed to a propane or a gas?
It is electric.
Okay, so I missed that, so again, I'm sitting here trying to take this in, and I'm not hearing what's being proposed. So that, thanks for clarifying that. Otherwise, I think that, both council and administration brought forward a very reasonable, budget, given the considerations that we're being faced with. I think that, I would have gone so far as I was sitting at the table and said, what would happen if we bumped this up to 4%? Going forward, recognizing that.
Mike, it's question period. I understand you have an opinion, but it's just for questions.
Okay. No, then that just deals with questions that I have.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
CC, any questions online? Putting the question out to all people online. I think there's 2 people in attendance besides Scarborough Media Center. Going once. If you can hear us going twice. And again, you can always ask questions via email. Even like if you had a question, you could email staff, we could answer you, it's nothing wrong. The opportunity's there. You can email any member of council at any time, ask them the same questions, they'll forward it on to staff. Stacey, anything coming back to the chat?
There's nothing coming through the chat.
Okay, thank you. And I guess, motion moved by Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor St. Louis. Resolved that the next budget meeting be set for April 15th, I guess, to pass it, John, or?
Yeah, it's actually the night of a regular council meeting, but it's okay, you pass resolutions. Just saying we will deal with budget at April 15th, so.
All in favor? Carry. Motion by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Johnson, resolved that we now adjourn at 10:06. All in favor? Carry. Thank you.